Hello YouTube and welcome to another episode of Behind the Wall presented by Perky Jerky. As always, I'm Thermite917 along with Probo 43 and Kane Jr. 88. This weekend the guys were at Kansas, the Kansas Lottery 300 for Xfinity and the Hollywood Casino 400 for Cup. And to recap the Cup race, here is Tyler.
Yes, sir. Joey Logano was on the pole for the Cup race. He led the first 40 laps until the green flag stops, came and went. Then he resumed in the lead. However, there was a caution on lap 56 where William Byron's engine exploded, the first and only non-stage caution of the race. The race resumed, and a little bit of shuffling at the lead there. But Joey Logano got back to it and led the rest of the way, winning stage number 1. Stage number 2, there was no yellows. Kevin Harvick won the stage. The final stage starts. Kevin Harvick led the way. He led from lap 138 to lap 213. That's when pit cycles started, but Kevin Harvick had a pit road speeding penalty forcing him to stop again, and that's when the ball game changed. Brad Keselowski stayed out for about 10 laps or so trying for a Hail Mary because he was on the cut line, but he eventually pit, and Chase Elliott, who had worked his way 2 seconds behind Harvick, now finds himself in the lead. And he's got a nice hefty lead over Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson, but eventually these guys start tracking him down, and as the laps click away, Kyle Busch pulls in, he gets under a second, chasing him or navigating through lap traffic, and Kyle even gets as close as under a half second, and they start kind of having a little bit of a semi-battle. Kyle Larson runs right in, he gets within about a second or so, but Chase just finds a groove in those last couple of laps, pulls the lead back out, and wins the race by just under a second over Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Eric Jones, Martin Truex Jr., the top 5, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Alex Bowman, and Eric Almirola are the rest of the top 10 finishers. Holy shit, Chase Elliott wins again. That's 2 of 3. Kane, you know damn well what that means. Sound that fucking siren, boys! Woo! Celebration time, that's right. Get oh, you know what that means too. Cracking a cold one, baby. Mike's Hard Lemonade. Just like Chase winning in 3 different paint schemes, every time I've done that, I've had a different flavor. Wow. This race, that was something. Like I said, only 3 yellows for 17 laps. The race lasted 2 hours, 38 minutes. There was 11 lead changes among 8 drivers. So let's hand out some race ratings. Kane, give us your rating.
Well, aside from Chase winning and those closing laps where we thought, oh, Kyle's going to close within and make it a repeat of last fall's race at Dover, it was a pretty uneventful race. As you said during the recap, there was literally one caution that wasn't for a stage finish, and it was pretty lackluster, especially compared to all the drama that happened the day before in the Xfinity race. So I am going to give this race a 5 out of 10 and no higher than that. Nick, what's your rating?
I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 10. First of all, I'm really happy that Chase won again. It's always nice to see a driver or a team finally get that first win out of the way and then go get more shortly after that. And it even tried to be a good finish out there, but as a whole, I'm just surprised with how little attrition there really was. It was cool to see guys running the high line and scraping the wall, but that also made it pretty hard to pass since basically everyone was up there. So as far as races with long green flag runs go, it was still pretty decent. I just expected more considering how, like Kane said, the Xfinity race was really crazy, and even the second half of the season for Cup was pretty crazy. So it was a little bit lackluster for me, guys. Tyler, what's your rating?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 5 too. What we saw in the spring in the night race was actually better, and that is so crazy to me. Saying that out loud now is so baffling. But this was just a standard race, man. A 1.5-mile track. It's kind of like what we've expected coming into every one, and some have been better than we've expected, a lot better, or some just a little bit worse. This one just kind of fits itself right in the middle. Obviously, as a fan, you have that biased reaction, like, oh my god, like this is getting tense. And it was. There was a chance where, oh my god, maybe Kyle Busch could win. Maybe Kyle Larson could throw the Hail Mary for himself and get the win and advance himself to the next round. Obviously, none of that happened, and nobody was able to get around Chase because it was so one groove on the high line. It still wasn't a dominated race, even though Logano led 100 laps of it. Kevin Harvick led 76 himself, and then Chase led the final 44. Again, it was just one of them straightforward races, and it's not bad. But when we look back on the season, this one isn't going to be really a memorable one. It's just going to fall into obscurity because there's nothing overly great to pull from it other than the fact that Chase won. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that covers the race. All right, see you later. Bye, Kansas.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Fuck no, we're not. I'm glad we're not. See you later. Hope to see you never. Do you got a Roval?
They do. I've seen the IMSA cars run on it. It's simple but neat. Got a nice little hairpin in there.
Let's do that.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Well, it's that time of the episode now, and we're here to hand out some awards for the Kansas Race Weekend, leading it off with that classic Raging Hard On, the boner of the week. Nick, who was it?
It goes to one that might be a surprise, Justin Allgaier. The first lap of the Xfinity race at Kansas, he just got loose out of nowhere, just snapped on him in turn one, and he slammed into Christopher Bell, took out a bunch of cars, including Austin Cindric again, Michael Annett, Spencer Gallagher, who was later affected by a cut tire related to that crash, and it was just a big mess. Took out 8 cars in total, including 4 of the 8 playoff guys, and that's just not like Allgaier to lose it. I don't know if he was just caught off guard by the slick conditions or the wind. They were talking about that being a factor or what. I have no idea, but sucks to suck, Allgaier. Next award.
The next award is the Day from Hell, and that goes to the JGR Xfinity program, which is technically a little bit of a spin-off of the Boner of the Week because one of the JGR cars was affected in that. Christopher Bell got clacked in the first lap incident. He was done for the day. Then not long after that, Brandon Jones down the backstretch all by himself gets loose in the speedy dry, slams into the wall once and then once more into turn 3, and he's out of the race. Well, everything's going to be okay, right? Ryan Preece is still in the race. He finishes 3rd in stage 1, but then later on in the race, you got a freaking little pissing contest between Joey Gase and damn Garrett Smithley. They're fighting over 32nd, having a good old jolly time. You're like, I want this spot. No, I want this spot. And then they end up basically colliding together. And poor old Ryan Preece, he's just like, I just want to get around this, man. And he couldn't. God damn. What are the odds of that? And then Ryan, he just went from bad to worse, ended up blowing a tire, went multiple laps down. He ended up being the best finisher of the bunch, finishing just in front of our pal Vinnie Miller in 21st place, 11 laps off of the lead. Wow, at least he got to finish the race, but what a day from hell from one of the dominant teams in Xfinity. Oh, too bad. Sucks to suck. Next award.
All right, our next award is the
Straight Jacket Award!
And for the 2nd week in a row, it goes to NASCAR for a missed, uncontrolled tire call on Clint Bowyer's final pit stop. It clearly showed on the TV screen that Bowyer's tire began to roll away from the car way outside of an arm's length, which if it's not, that's an uncontrolled tire. But NASCAR didn't see it, and when they explained the call, they said, oh, it's okay to be on the inside of the box. Oh, really? You didn't say that before. Every time you penalized a team for an uncontrolled tire, like Kurt Busch or Eric Almirola. I mean, what the hell, NASCAR? You must be freaking crazy. If you think you're going to let a call that should be an uncontrolled tire call get away from you like that. Next award.
Well, we got a bunch of cigars this week. The first one goes to John Hunter Nemechek. He scored his first ever Xfinity Series win. I would say maybe he was the 2nd best car. Daniel Hemrick really dominated the race. It was in his hands. But then when they were coming to green flag pit stops late in the race, John Hunter got to pit road a lot better. But then he overshot his pit box. And then he fell back again. But luckily they had a caution. And then when they came down to pit road, Nemechek had some loose lug nuts. But fortunately, the way the wave rounds worked and all the lap cars and everything, he still restarted 6th. And he charged through the field And Daniel Hemrick, I don't know what they did to his car, but it was just not as strong as before. And JHN got around him and pulled away for the victory. So that's awesome. I mean, he was obviously talented in the Truck Series, got the opportunity with Chip Ganassi, and like Ross Chastain, he's making the most of it finally. Moving on, Shane Lee gets a cigar. He finished fourth in that RCR number 3. He's one of them drivers that has some good runs, but then can't close it off or just sucks. But this time, he didn't suck and had a solid finish. Ty Majeski gets a cigar. Man, this is awesome because the 60 car didn't wreck. And it really could have with all the early carnage in the first half of the race. He actually finished 8th, and he really seems to have been the best driver of that 60 car. The bad juju doesn't seem to affect him as much, so that's awesome for him. So moving on with the Xfinity cigars, take it away.
Yes, the next one goes to Ryan Sieg, who finished right behind Mr. Majeski in 9th place. Nice little cute top 10, his second top 10 on the year, first since Talladega. So congratulations, Ryan, that was cute. And the last Xfinity cigar goes to Jeremy Clements with another cute top 10 in 10th. Nice. First ever on a 1.5 miler, considering how long Jeremy Clements has been in the series. That's a little bit of an accomplishment for that team. So good job, guys. Moving on to Cup Cigars, Kane.
All right, the first Cup cigar obviously goes to Chase Elliott, his 3rd win of the season and his 3rd win of his career in just the past 11 races. He literally went from having 0 wins in his first 98 career starts to having 3 in the last 11. That's pretty damn impressive. Almost as impressive as that, holy cow, the sexual green is back! Yeah, that's right, he had the old Mountain Dew machine this weekend. In fact, this actually marks the first win for Mountain Dew as a primary sponsor since Darrell Waltrip drove the Junior Johnson number 11 car all the way back in 1982 at Rockingham. So congratulations to Chase. And our final Cup cigar goes to Kyle Larson, who, despite finishing 3rd, was eliminated from postseason contention. But he put on quite a drive with a backup car because, for those who don't remember, he wrecked the primary in practice when he hit the asshole apron in turn, I think it was turn 3, and just pancaked the right side of the car, and the backup wasn't completely dialed in like the primary was, and still somehow managed to bring it home in 3rd, albeit it wasn't worth it because, again, he's out of the playoffs, but still, got to give him some credit where credit is due. And that is it for the awards.
Hell yeah. Get your trick treat win.
Get your sexual green.
Wow, look at that green. Like to sex that up. Nice green, not so nice paint scheme. Well, now it's time to take a look at the best paint schemes of the week. We've got 2 of them, so no need for a montage. We got 1 from Xfinity and 1 from Cup, so take it away.
All right, our first Xfinity scheme in the segment is John Hunter Nemechek's race-winning Fire Alarm Services Breast Cancer Awareness Chevrolet Camaro. And I gotta say, it's a lot better than the truck he raced last season. The truck was literally just all pink with that same skyline design on the sides of the truck. But this year, they took it a whole different direction. The back of the car is pink, but the front is black, and they put a bit of a gradient on it and put the same skyline on the side, and it's actually a pretty solid paint scheme, and it really fits with the 42 on the sides, and I wish they'd do the same thing with the truck, honestly. It looked really cool on that as well. So yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. Thermite, you got the next one?
The next one is Clint Boyer's DeKalb Corn Fusion, your DeKalb kebab, and it's just a nice overall paint scheme, especially after last week at Talladega. But this one, the base is kind of like a simplified version of the wing in their logo, and it's a nice matte black finish behind it. And I actually like the roof number, how it is the yellow with the white outline. It really makes it pop. Doesn't really work on the door. It kind of blends in a little bit. Maybe if they had the thicker outline black, that would have worked better. And it also kind of annoys me above the rear tire how they have the little hashtag #MyFarmMyYield. I don't know if they could have done better there because it's kind of an awkward little space, but I don't know, kind of bugs me a little bit. But the scheme as a whole, it's nice. It's a nice Midwestern sponsor. Me and Kane are familiar with it. And yeah, good for Boyer. Sucks he couldn't win at his home track, but he still had a solid run. Moving on to the worst paint schemes. Tyler, take it away.
Yes, the first worst paint scheme of the week comes from the Xfinity series, and that goes to Chase Briscoe's Nutrichomps Ford. That's right, for the third time this season, he's driving a Nutrichomps car, but now this is the third different paint scheme. So let's just go ahead and have a little recap, shall we? First of all, we start with this absolute atrocity that you'll probably see in the season-ending awards. Then, they improved the car out of absolutely nowhere and have this solid paint scheme. And now, we are here. Okay, at first glance, I saw it in the render, little NASCAR.com preview, and I'm like, okay, it's different, but I see some promise here. And then I see the full car, and I'm like, what? I don't like this anymore. There's just too much damn orange at the front. They overdid it. It's like the side design is kind of cool, and then it just gets weird in the contingency area and above the number. I just don't like that additional white space, and it just seems too awkward. The paint scheme just doesn't completely flow from the front of the car to the back of the car, and quite frankly, it looks better wrecked because at least some of the bare bond was able to mask a lot of that orange. So yeah, just no. Go back to the 60 car, the orange and white one. That one works. Also feel bad for the little puppy on the side. Has a freaking Hunt Brothers logo slapped right on his face. I don't think he appreciates that, but ugh, whatever. You know, it's not the worst car, but at least this time they didn't have that stupid freaking real chicken and foreskin chews slapped on there. I'm surprised they were smart enough to get rid of that, but overall the paint scheme is a letdown. Nice try, but not really. Get better. And we have one more worst paint scheme of the week. Nick, finish it off.
All right, and our final one. Once again, JTG makes an appearance with their frickin' baked beans. Chris Buescher's, what beans does he have this time? His chili beans. Oh, man. Again, the paint scheme itself is good, but you got your little dog and your big beans. Duke is so lonely over there between the number and the rear tire. Meanwhile, there's this giant bowl of baked beans, and you can't even really see it behind the Twitter logo or the Bush's logo that's under it. What was even the point of that? And then you got the little tiny cans to the right of Duke, and then the big logos. They have no proportion skills. I just don't get it. Just pisses me off.
Pisses all of us off because we've already pissed enough in your ficus.
Yeah, piss in your beans that are also in a ficus. Therefore, we're still pissing in the ficus, but there's beans in it too, because they automatically suck because your paint scheme sucks. Get off the screen. Okay, time to recap the fantasy from Kansas. Damani came home with another surprise win. He went with Kyle Busch, who finished second and got 48 points. I came home second, picking Ryan Blaney, who finished 7th. After having a really good day, he got 47 points, so missed out on the win by just 1 point. Tyler came home third. He picked Kevin Harvick, who finished in 12th, and that got him 44 points. And Kane came home last with Martin Truex Jr., who finished 5th and got 33 points. So next week is Martinsville. Tyler's actually going to be there, but we'll discuss that later. First, we have to make our fantasy picks, and Kane, you are first.
Well, this really shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. He is the defending race winner after the drama that unfolded in the late laps last year. I'm going to go with Kyle Busch.
You bitch.
Everybody pretty much has him as a lock to go into the championship at Homestead, and I feel like he's going to solidify that this weekend at Martinsville. So, Tyler, who's your pick?
Well, for Martinsville, I think I'll take Squinty Douche, Joey Logano.
Matt Kenseth just wrecked Joey Logano!
Yeah, we all remember that funny little incident that happened 3 years ago now. Crazy. We're approaching the anniversary of that. But, you know, them Penske cars, they just seem weirdly strong at places. Blaney was very strong in the spring, and those guys were kind of up there. You know, now he's in the third round. You know, Joey's just going to pop up out of nowhere and do well, maybe win another race. I don't know. Either way, I think he'll still get me some solid points. So, Nick, who are you taking for Martinsville?
Well, I'm going to go with the driver who won the spring race there, and that is Clint Boyer.
His legs flail about as if independent from his body.
He seems pretty confident in the upcoming short tracks. He's good at Martinsville, like I said. I just want to see Cash running down the track again. Like, that was such a cool moment. And it would be
It
huge.
was.
It would be huge for Boyer in the playoffs. He's good on them short tracks. And yeah, go Clint.
Hey, I think that the Monty HD guy still has to make a selection. So who are you taking?
Well, I'm going to take Kyle Larson
This guy sucks.
in the 42 car because, let's just face it, man, Kyle Larson at short tracks is good.
Thanks, Amani. Good to hear from you. Okay, I think that does it for fantasy. So see you in the outro. Hey, we're in the outro. Well, and that does it for another episode of Behind the Wall, presented by Perky Jerky. We appreciate you for listening. So over to Monty HD. If you're listening to this for the first time and you have no idea why I'm referring to somebody that wasn't even on the show, well, you don't know him, and we don't either anymore. Like, damn it, Damani, you've missed so many episodes. Come back on for a guest appearance, please. For Kane Jr. 88, frequent burper. For Thermite 917, frequent water drinker. And he also likes to spill marinara sauce all over his kitchen floor and have his dad yell at him. And for myself, Provo 43, I'll be looking forward to going to Martinsville this week. Should be awesome. Also got to mention Kimi Räikkönen. He won the F1 race. So many years been waiting for that. You know, Mr. Perky Jerky, that's what influences Perky Jerky to be the sponsor on this show. So, man, that was a big deal. I don't give a shit if this is a NASCAR podcast or not. We're going to talk some F1 things. And Kimmy, he's the man. I think Kimmy thinks so too. You know, I just go out there and I do my thing. So, yeah, I am the man. Thanks. You're not. Scrub. Thank you, Kimmy. So, this has been Behind the Wall. You've been behind the wall. And thank you for listening. Whenever you are ready.
This will be a good episode, nice and quick, hopefully.
Let's get right in there. Get right in the cooch.
Oh yeah.
I won.
Right in the cane. Alright. You ready?
Yep. Also, who the fuck is Ja Jr. Avila?
I know.
It's Jairo Avila Jr. is his name, yeah. I don't know why it's spelled that way.
I thought they were saying J.A. like initials, but I call him Judge Jr.
Ja Jr. That's like a 5-year-old kid saying Dale Jr. for the first time. Dale Jr.
Yeah. Judge Jr. at Villa Hurt.
The Xfinity cars race in Kansas this week, and you know damn well what that means. Where did Vinnie Miller finish? Oh, Vinnie gave him 22nd with them sunglasses. You fuck.
That should be our new, like, where did, who, what, where, when finish.
And here's our new segment, Who, What, Where, When.
Who, what, where, when, and why. Who? Vinnie Miller. What? His sunglasses. When? He wore them this morning. Why? Because he's a douche.
That too.
Oh my god.
I think we should do awards.
I think we should. Alright, so, alright, I'll lead it off.
All right, our next award is the...
Straight
And for the... God damn it!
I knew someone was going to do that.
All right, our next award is the...
Jacket Award. You're fine. It's going to be plugged in. What came up to that was fine.
Okay.
Just
Ruffles.
where we...
And for the second... Okay.
Jesus! Ruffles
What the hell?
chips.
Just continue. You're fine.
Okay.